Happy New Year and welcome back to Ask GMBN Tech. This, of course, is our weekly show. It's a Q&A format. You ask the questions, I'll give you some answers, and hopefully that's what you're looking for. If you want to ask any questions, get them into the email address at the bottom of the screen right there, hellotech@gmbn.com, or you can add them in the comments below this very video. So first up is coming from Thomas Lee. Can you please make a video about choosing the right tyres? Because I'm thinking about buying some and my local bike shop is too expensive for me. Yeah, sure. So obviously buying a set of tyres can be quite a daunting prospect because there's a lot of options available on the market and they all do and offer slightly different things. So firstly, you need to identify what type of tyres are going to be most suitable for you. So just going to run through a few of the basic things you need to consider before making your choice and then of course shopping for them online. So all right, so first up you want to consider, do you want a fast rolling tyre? So if you're looking for a faster rolling tyre, you're going to want something with the knobbles quite close together, something with the knobbles quite low in profile, and perhaps something with a harder compound rubber. Now you get a harder compound rubber in two ways. A lot of budget tyres tend to be harder compound rubber because A, it's cheaper, B, it's more durable, rolls faster, and all that sort of stuff. But then you can also get more expensive tyres that deliberately have that harder rubber on them to make them roll faster, where of course the soft compound rubber that you can get aids grip, but they do wear out faster and they do roll slower. So it is a compromise on those things. Quite a lot of people like to run a harder compound rubber tyre on the rear, which wears out faster, and a softer one on the front for maximum control. Next up is looking at the actual casing as well. So you get different TPIs on casing, that's threads per inch. Basically the more dense the tyre is, the more higher weave the tyre itself is, the higher the TPI rating. Basically it's a thicker, better quality tyre. The more open it is, the tyre's a bit floppy, a bit weak really. So you want to be looking for the maximum amount you can for your buck really. And of course you need to also figure out, do you want your tyres to be set up tubeless? Now, in theory, you can set up most tyres tubeless, but it can be quite wasteful setting up a very cheap budget tyre with a low TPI, setting that one up tubeless. It can take a lot of sealant to seal that tyre up. So if you are considering going for tubeless, I do recommend you at least look for a tubeless ready tyre, which means it's going to be far more suitable for setting up tubeless in the first place. So just consider what type of riding it is you want to do first, and then also ask some local riders, see what they ride. You will find if you ask 4 or 5 riders, there will be some similarities in what they ride, and quite often that will be a really good starting place to look. And then of course, when you go and look for your tyres online, you're going to be able to narrow things down and try and find a better deal for yourself. So hopefully that gives you some sort of idea. I do quite like the idea of doing some sort of buyer's guide video though for tyres. So I'm definitely going to put that one in the diary to make sure we get that one done soon. And hopefully you'll have sorted it out before then, but if not, come back for that video. Okay, another rubber related question from NSX276. Doddy, loving the show, thank you very much. I've got a 2017 Diamondback Overdrive Comp 27.5 inch hardtail. I'd love to upgrade the tyres. Currently I'm an enthusiast and seasonal rider. My local trails are for the most part hard packed dry dirt. I don't ride in the wet and I'm not that aggressive. The bike came with Kenda Honey Badger Sport tyres. The knobs on the tyres are very small. Yeah, I know, it's actually a really fast rolling tyre that. Yeah, so they seem to roll fast but they don't offer the best grip. My wheels are tubeless ready, thanks in advance. Alright, so assuming you're looking for tyre purely to suit hard packed dirt, then a fast rolling tyre like you described can be quite good, but what I suspect is your particular tyre is quite round in profile, hasn't got like a big edged shoulder on it, and having a shoulder to cut in really makes quite a difference to the traction you have in corners. Of course, straight line traction with small knobs, the whole point is they roll fast, so there's always going to be a compromise. You can't always have something that rolls fast and gives you all that grip. So a good way to try and find a fast rolling tyre is to look for tyre tread designs that have some kind of central ridge. So I'm just going to throw a few on screen that have these sort of things going on, and it might give you some ideas about what might suit your riding. So first one is the Maxxis Ardent. Now there's 2 versions of this. You get the regular Ardent and you can get the Ardent Race. Now that's the Race. So note that they look very similar, but the Race is just a lower profile design, so they just roll that bit quicker. They're exceptionally grippy tyres considering how little they have going on basically on them, and I think you'll find they'll be a lot grippier than your existing Kenda tyres you have on there. Another tyre by Maxxis that's also very good is the Crossmark. They're not quite as popular these days because there's a lot of other alternative tyres out there, but you can get these at really good prices online, and they have that telltale central band. And again, there's not a lot of tread going on in this tyre, but they're deceptively grippy. And of course they do roll nice and fast, and you can set both those options up tubeless. Now the newer model of the Continental Mountain King, that's definitely worth looking at as well. This is it on the screen. It's got a bit of a chevron pattern, so it gives you that nice fast rolling band, but there's a good amount of support on the sidewalls of the tyre and the shoulders there too. It's tubeless compatible, so you don't have to worry about that, and it's available in different options, different sizes like 27.5, 29s, even like the 27.5 plus or B plus size, which is 2.6. So there's quite a few options in that tyre as well. Now another brand also worth taking into account is Schwalbe tyres. So they make loads of tyres that might suit you, just like the other brands. Racing Ralph, here's one on the screen there. It's definitely on the lighter side, so maybe more biased towards cross-country racing and riding. However, super light, super fast, so that could be a good option for you. And they've also got the Rapid Rob. As far as I know, it's a bit of a newer tyre. I've not ridden that tyre, but it does look pretty good, I think. There's loads of options out there for you. So essentially, when you're looking for tyres, they do vary. Of course, there's a lot of different options on the market in 27.5, 26 and 29 inch. And they all have different characteristics. So you do need to find what suits you. But in dry, hard pack conditions, try and look for some sort of central band of knobs on there, at least for your rear tyre, because that takes most of your body weight, and that's really the one that's going to slow you down more. You can be a bit more freed up on the front choice and have something a bit gnarlier, a bit more grippy to give you that confidence that you might want from a tyre. But out back, you can definitely get away with something much faster and lower in profile. Okay, next question is from Jason83OK. Is it worth taking the risk of trying to use a non-tubeless ready tyre in a tubeless setup? The rims are tubeless ready. Yeah, you can do this basically, but it's not guaranteed. So when Stan's No Tubes brought out their original tubeless conversion kit, at the time the real tubeless setup was called UST, and this is a system developed primarily by Mavic. Now, UST system basically relies on a sealed rim bed, basically, had that classic tubeless valve stem that goes in there, and then dedicated tyres, but they're very, very expensive. And the Stan's conversion kit had a rubber rim strip with a valve built into it, and then their own basically tyre sealant called Stan's No Tubes. Now you'd fill the system up with that, and that would actually form a bit of a seal between their rim strip and the tyre, effectively turning your tyre into one giant sort of tubeless tyre. Now the thing with this system is it works really well with higher quality tyres, less so with lower quality tyres, and the reason for that is lower quality tyres tend to be a bit more of an open weave, like it's called a lower thread per inch count, and of course the sealant, you can have to use a lot of it to seal up those holes, which of course is very expensive and it's not really the best thing to do. So provided you have some half decent tyres, then you probably can. If you're unsure, it's well worth just asking around in riding groups, maybe on Facebook, there'll be social riding groups near where you are, and just see if anyone else has tried setting your particular tyres up tubeless. Okay, next up's a transmission related question from Cohen Dost. GMBN, I recently got a 1x11 Shimano XT drivetrain with a Sunrace 1146 cassette. It's amazing, but there is one problem. When I pedal back and my chain is on the biggest cog, it drops off. What can I do to stop this? I use a KMC 11-speed chain and a 34-tooth narrow wide chainring up the front. To me, it just sounds like a simple adjustment issue. Generally, if it's happening when you're just pedaling backwards, it tells me that perhaps your upper limit is just a fraction out of adjustment. That in combination with the B screws, that's your B tension screw. The job of that screw is to adjust the height of your upper jockey wheel in relation to that largest sprocket. If it's too close to that, your chain's going to foul, and if it's too far away and the upper limit is even a slight bit out of adjustment, it can be really easy for the chain to just unhook itself because of the ramps that are on there designed to shift it on there in the first place. It can actually have that opposite effect, which it sounds like you're having. If you've got issues with this, have a look at my guide to shifting. It's going to be, the link for that is in the description below this video, and hopefully you'll just be able to follow that guide and make sure you get your shifting set up absolutely pinpoint, because you've got good kit there. It shouldn't be anything to do with any of that kit. It's all compatible, so it will be just a tiny little fine adjustment, and then you'll be on your way hopefully. Okay, Isidore Cindric says, what is it with Lefties? Why, what, how did they become pros? all that sort of stuff. Maybe a GMBN Tech special about them. Do you know, I feel like I've done this quite a lot of times. It's one of those weird questions that always comes up because the Lefty is such an odd looking fork. I'm actually going to throw a little link in the description below to an Ask GMBN Tech where I talked a little bit about the Lefty, where people were asking how strong they were and how they actually worked. And I actually talked about some aircraft suspension and undercarriages in relation to them. It's a really cool system. I explained a little bit of it there, so click on that link and it'll take you straight through. Okay, and last one is from JH Biking. What's the best mountain bike wheel size for me? I'm 5'6". I'm looking at doing cross-country riding. Well, basically, wheel size isn't really that much to do with height. It's totally up to what suits you. Now, I'm going to use some examples for this. Right, so Emily Batty, she's 5'3", and Anton Cooper, her teammate last year, he is 5'4". Now, Emily likes to ride a size small bike and she actually runs it with 27.5-inch wheels. Now, I know she's ridden at 29-inch wheels in the past and she rode those very well by all accounts, but she definitely seems to prefer running at 27.5-inch wheels, and that's what she ran most of last year in the World Cup, so the UCI World Cup series. Now, Anton, the opposite, he runs 29-inch wheels and he actually runs a slightly bigger frame as well, even though he's only an inch taller than her and 2 inches shorter than yourself. And to get around that, I mean, Anton's a very aggressive rider. I think one of the most stylish looking riders and 100% someone to watch in 2019. You watch him go. The New Zealand rider, he's a rad rider, and check out his stem angle. This thing is insane. Look at the extremities you got to go to sort of counter and get your position down as low as possible. And that just proves they're both shorting yourself and they both ride two different sizes. The only real way to find out is to try both. It can be tricky trying to find demo bikes in those sizes, but it's definitely worth trying them. For the record, I'd go for big wheels, but I'm 6'4", so I'm obviously going to say that because I'm a bit sizist. So there we go, there's another weekly Ask GMBN Tech in the bag. If you've got any questions, add them in those comments, or like I said at the beginning of the show, send them into hellotech@gmbn.com. We'd love to hear from you and we'll hopefully feature your questions in a future show. For a couple more great videos, click down here if you want to know everything about how a tyre is made. That's when Neil went over to Germany, check out the Continental factory. Pretty techie, geeky stuff that. And click down here if you want to hear some sort of tricky technical terms explained for you. As always, give us a massive thumbs up if you love GMBN Tech. And of course, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so. Cheers, guys.